What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's your boy Noname back at it again with another New York Giants video. And for those of you that watched my last video, yeah, my voice is still kind of messed up. Well, in my last one I had a headache, but after New Year's Day my voice is messed up. I was planning to record this video yesterday, but I literally couldn't speak without just being in pain. And it still hurts a little bit right now, but it's definitely a lot better than it was yesterday. And so, Happy New Year's to everybody, by the way. Happy 2020, new decade. I hope everybody gets through the New Year's resolutions more than the 3 weeks they usually spend on it. And I hope you guys have a wonderful year. Now, with all the sappy stuff out of the way, for the sake of you and for the sake of my throat, let's get right into it. The New York Giants 2020 opponents, the Giants actually released this days ago on December 29th, this Sunday. That's 4 days ago. They released their 16 opponents in the 2020 season. Now, of course, 3 of those opponents always remain the same. The NFC East division rivals, those take up 6 of the games, 3 home, 3 away. What we're really looking at here, because we already know what we have in the Cowboys, in the Eagles, in the Redskins, or at least we have the best idea of those teams versus the other ones because we face them every year. We're going to be focusing on the NFC West, the AFC North, and the 2 third-place teams that will be facing on this third-place strength schedule. So, let's get right into it. Starting off with the NFC West, and I picked the NFC West because that's the first thing I noticed when I looked at this schedule. Opponent list schedule, whatever it is. I'm going to continue to mix it up a little bit just because I'm a bit out of it because the men's right now. But the first thing I noticed was definitely the NFC West. I saw the 49ers, I saw the Seahawks, I saw the Rams, and I was like, oh damn, this is going to be a tough schedule right off the bat. Now listen, a disclaimer for the entire video. I know, and I'm a firm believer in that what happens in one football year does not necessarily translate to the next. The 49ers are a good example of that. The Chicago Bears, who are on this, are a good example of that. Last year they were in the playoffs. This year they were third place in their division. The Rams are a good example of that back in 2017, because in 2016 they were one of the worst teams in the league. They got Sean McVay, became one of the best teams in the league the next year. And you could name countless other examples. It just goes like that, so on and so forth. The Eagles, their Super Bowl year, the year before that, 2016, I'm pretty sure they either came in 3rd place or 4th place in the East. I want to say 3rd. And then the next year, they went on a Super Bowl run. And it could be something like that, something miraculous. It could be that a team finds the right coach, the right player, something clicks. Whatever it is, a bad team can go from being a bad team to a really good team. And a really good team can go from being a really good team to a bad team. So, you have to keep that in mind when thinking about these schedules and judging the toughness of it. However, it is kind of rare that happens. Usually teams follow in the model of they improve steadily over time and then they, become really good. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they have a 6-win season, then an 8-win season, then the next season they're playoff bound, steadily improving. That's a lot more common to see in the NFL than it is to see, complete turnarounds, whether it's in a good direction or a bad direction. So that's why, I think we're all still able to kind of judge the toughness of this. But the San Francisco 49ers, should they keep up everything into the next year, should still be very good. Definitely the Seattle Seahawks, should they keep up everything, and the Seahawks have just been, in this past decade, one of those perennial playoff teams. They're just built right, they're just managed right, they have the right players. I expect nothing but for them to make the playoffs again next year. The Rams are a different story because cap space might catch up with them. The fact that they didn't make it this year, they kind of fell apart a little bit. Maybe it was the Super Bowl hangover, who knows? But the Rams may be a playoff team next year, may not be. But the NFC West is one of those divisions out there that is definitely up for the toughest in the league. You got the West, the North in the NFC. You could argue the South, although this year really the only good team on the NFC South was the Saints. And then you got, divisions of the AFC, like the AFC South and whatnot, that are always competitive. And one that is not so competitive, but is still a good division, the AFC North, which is the other one that we have. Teams such as the Baltimore Ravens, who are, I'm pretty sure right now, by large, they're the Super Bowl favorites. They're my Super Bowl favorites for sure. The Cleveland Browns, a team that I can't wait to see come to New York because they are a home opponent. Should Odell still be on the team, then I mean, you never know what could happen. Baker Mayfield's still gonna be there for sure. I don't want them to come into New York and get their asses handed to them. Basically, I would love to see the Giants just absolutely throttle this team, and I would love to be that game. Everybody knows that we never had any type of problem with Cleveland. There was never any type of rivalry between us until Baker Mayfield opened his mouth and until Odell was sent there. There was like a made rivalry, a man-made rivalry, not a natural thing like the Cowboys and Giants. Not a natural thing like the Giants and the 49ers from days old. Nah, this Cleveland Browns rivalry is just a petty stink rivalry, man, that I can't wait to see us finish by putting them in the ground. I will 100% try to be at that game. It all depends, on what part of the schedule it actually falls. But I can't wait to see that. We got the team in the Pittsburgh Steelers, they were a good team this year. They definitely performed beyond everybody's expectations, and I think they may have overperformed a little bit because of the quarterback situation and just in general how the team talent is. But they're still very good, much like the Seahawks. They are, for the past maybe 3 decades or so, a perennial playoff team. One of those franchises in the NFL that are managed right, coached right, and have the right players. So they're always a good team. And then you got the Cincinnati Bengals, who have the first pick in the draft this year. Listen, I would not count the Bengals completely out because this year the Giants have lost to teams that they should have won games against. And that could very well happen next year. I mean, it could happen with any team. Like I said, that thing about what happens 1 year doesn't necessarily translate. But this Bengals game is probably the easiest one on the away schedule. Like the away lineup is Ravens, Bengals, Rams, Seahawks, Bears, Cowboys, Eagles, Redskins. You could argue Bears, but for me it's definitely the Bengals. I mean, they got the number 1 pick in the draft, and they were definitely the worst team in the league this year. It's going to take a lot for that to turn around and for them to be completely competitive next year. Now, speaking of that Chicago Bears, they're one of the third place teams we're facing because they finished third in the North. This is probably the third or fourth time in a row that we're facing the Bears. And it's going to be the third time in a row we're facing the Bucs when I get to them. But the Bears, that's honestly a toss-up team. Like I said, last year they were a playoff team. Maybe they get back to form next year. Depends what they do in their free agency, their draft, all that. But that defense, no matter what happens, is always going to be formidable. Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, and the crew, that defense is always going to be a formidable one to go up against. Like I said, we got the Bucs also on third place schedule for the third year in a row. I'm pretty sure 2017, 2018, 2019. Oh my God, 2020, 4 years in a row. Jesus, we just keep facing the Bucs. And I'm pretty sure the last 2 times we faced them, we won. In 2017, they won off of a field goal thing. That's actually how I just discovered that Giants YouTube. I started looking up, because I was so pissed at that game. I started looking up Giants fans' reactions to that Bucs game. And quick little anecdote there. But this should be another team, much like the Bengals, I feel like we have a really good chance against, because they may be moving on from Jameis Winston this offseason. I think they should. In my opinion, I don't know. I just think he's the guy to go with. But maybe Bruce Arians has something up his sleeve. But it's another very winnable game. I didn't really talk about the NFC West that much, and I just realized, but I won't say anything much about the Seahawks and Rams. The 49ers, I expect them to be good again. Cardinals, DJ versus Kyler Murray. The Cardinals, I think, have potential to be a very good team next year. I think they could probably make the playoffs. They're a very underlooked team because of how they've performed and because their offensive line. And it's rightfully so that people don't take notice of them when they have a really bad offensive line. But I think if they make the right moves this offseason, they already have the talent at all the skill positions, and they have some talent on that defense if they get the right coordinator, or maybe if their coordinator steps it up a bit. They're definitely a playoff team next year, especially in that NFC West division where it's really tough and everybody's going to be fighting and scrapping for a playoff spot. But I mean, yeah, that's really my look on this 2020 opponents list. You got to keep in mind that what stuff doesn't translate. I got to repeat that, even though it's a little bit annoying. But even that, just looking at it, first impression and last impression, this is a really tough schedule. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you guys. Not going to lay it in soft. We are going up against the NFC West division that has 2 playoff teams this year. had the potential to have 3 if the Rams picked it up. We're going up against an AFC North division that will have, in my opinion, 2 playoff teams next year, and definitely a Super Bowl favorite this year and for the next 4 or 5 years with the way Lamar Jackson is playing. Our own division, which we always seem to either fail together or win together, so that's going to be tough. And 2 third place teams that aren't exactly some pushovers. It's a very tough schedule, very tough opponent list, but we can make it through it because of the fact that our NFC East rivals face the same ones, the same schedules, just on different first, second place tiers. But that's what I got for y'all today. As you could hear, my voice isn't exactly fully healed. I was planning on doing a wild card weekend preview and whatnot. But I might just take the weekend off. Honestly, if you guys want me to do it, I'll probably put it in the comments because not many people watch the video throughout, the entire video. If you guys want me to do it, let me know in the comments down below, and I will. But that's what I got for y'all today. I'm out. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Put your comments down below. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Until next time, I'm out.